In one of those textbook perfect looking major hurricanes, not Idalia. Hurricane Franklin is a Category 4 with winds of 150 miles an hour. And certainly you can kind of breathe that sigh of relief looking at a storm like this, knowing that it will not directly impact any land area. It is going to go right in between the East Coast and Bermuda. Obviously it'll kick up the seas. Rip currents will be more of an issue for the island and the East Coast, but it is not going to directly move over land. You've got that almost perfect spiral with the outflow in the upper atmosphere, kind of that saw blade looking formation, and that perfectly symmetrical eye. Where we don't have a perfectly symmetrical eye or a perfectly symmetrical storm is Idalia. Now the expectation is that it will become more organized. We still see that pulsation of the thunderstorms right near the center, but unlike what you saw with Franklin, they're not exactly wrapping perfectly around that center. So at least in the near term, it has not yet started to explode in strength. That is still expected, but consider that the computer models don't do as good of a job with intensity. They do a very good job with the track, and that track forecast, I mean, that has been almost spot on since going back to last week when this was still just a wave moving into the Caribbean. It always had been looking more like the Big Bend, and that continues to be the case with the 10 o'clock forecast. Now we will start to see the winds affecting, say, from Fort Myers up toward Tampa tomorrow late evening into the night. The strongest of the winds, and I actually had to make sure that they were on there. I kind of took the transparency down on my icons here for the storm itself. Those hurricane force winds are right at the center. So that is when that center line becomes very important. Now, while you will see impacts obviously very far away from the center, one, this is not expected to be a very large storm, and two, those hurricane force winds will be right near landfall. And hopefully it is going to be in the Big Bend because this is a far less populated part of the Florida coast. Continuing across Georgia and South Carolina, eventually moving out into the open Atlantic, which after that we will keep another eye on it. Right now, most of the models just dissipated over the Atlantic. Now we're starting to see some strong wind shear that had been along northwestern Florida moving northward. We also have ample dry air, but most of the model guidance is not indicating that the dry air is really going to impede the organization and strengthening of the storm. For us, though, it actually benefits us because as this front, which has been kind of stalled over the area, the front and an upper low helped our rain chances today. It'll do so again tomorrow. As the front starts to slide south, what will help to push it even farther offshore will be as Idalia moves northward. The overall pattern or flow around the storm will begin to see more of a strong northeasterly flow, and that into Wednesday will help to push the front farther south and start bringing in some drier air. So we will tap into less humid air. Dew points in the 50s and 60s are expected to get down to the northern Gulf Coast. I'm not sure why my data disappeared here. I think it's updating, but you definitely see that drier air moving in during the day on Wednesday, still hanging around Thursday, and then by Friday we start tapping into the muggy air. Now, unfortunately, we're not going to see a big cool down, although considering most of the month, actually almost the entire month, going back to late July, we've been in the upper 90s and triple digits. Low 90s all of a sudden doesn't feel so bad, and we're going to see better rain chances. 60%, that may be too conservative. It could be a bit more. Today's coverage is about 80-90%, and we'll also see some showers heading into the end of this coming week as well. Most of our heavier rainfall winding down, much needed rain, and most areas got at least something, with some areas such as the airport almost an inch and a quarter. Not exactly getting our deficit gone, but it's something, and we needed it. We're in the 70s and 80s outside at the moment. Today's high did get up to 94 degrees after we started, we got into the lower 90s before the rainfall began, and then we started to see those temperatures drop. I think if the rainfall gets going a little earlier tomorrow, that will prevent us from getting into the lower mid 90s, maybe more lower 90s, or hopefully upper 80s if the rainfall gets started early enough. That less humid air for Wednesday and Thursday, then some scattered showers back by Friday and into the weekend.